when you're starting out, you're always going to have to learn. But go into every single match, even finales, even world championships and stuff like that. Always go into it as a learning experience. Because if in the end, if you compete, great, fine. But if you miss one stage and you don't learn from it, then it's thrown away. You didn't gain anything from going to that match other than competing in it. Whereas if you learn from it, then it's 100% worth it.
And honestly, that's such good advice. And yes, it's always smart to learn. I completely agree with you. But the fact that you threw in like even finales, even world championships, like that's what sets you apart from the average guy. Like the guy that's going to get to the podium and winning stuff. That's how he's treating stuff. All right, guys, welcome back to Red, White, and Moose, the show dedicated to the relentless pursuit of excellence, whether it's behind a trigger, in a competition, or just in our everyday lives. Everything we do demands precision. And today I've got a pretty special guest, Reagan Stahmer, here with me. Reagan, how are you going?
Doing good.
Good. So we'll get into everything with Reagan here pretty quick. But I hope everyone had an awesome Christmas and an awesome New Year's. This episode will be coming out the day after New Year's. So if you're listening to this hungover, I'm very, very sorry. And Reagan's definitely not going to be one of the hungover ones. Yeah. And Reagan's dad's behind me. And so I've been shooting the bow a bunch and going to be going here in a few days for this weekend, trying to get a quick bow hunt in. And I'm very, very, very excited about that. And if you're not following me on Instagram yet, go follow me on Instagram. It's at the Mike Burdis, and Reagan is at Reagan Shoots on Instagram, and Reagan Stahmer on Facebook. Before we get into everything, getting to know Reagan, this episode's brought to you by Alpha Munitions, Lone Peak, Collis Foundation, Hawkins Precision, West Texas Ordnance, Raven Rifles, and Botnia Solutions. Guys, go check them out. I love these guys. They are the best in the business. This show is partnered with Collis. Collis is the world's oldest successful rifle scope manufacturer, so it's no surprise with that many years of experience, they've released their game-changing lineup. The K328i and the K540i truly are game changers. With a 40% wider field of view, they make a huge difference in competition and in the field. I love the DLR models with the easy-to-read elevation turrets, and they've got top-tier glass that provides the ultimate color and clarity. When you're ready to be at the top of your game, you need a game-changing scope from Collis. Check out the K328 and K540i. This show is partnered with Raven Rifles. Raven Rifles produces artwork that shoots. Their custom Lurk Cerakote pattern provides depth and colors that honestly most patterns just dream of. Their limited release rifles are truly a work of art. They're available in limited numbers and guaranteed to be an eye catcher. I absolutely love the Lurk pattern. You can see the Snow Wolf and Copperhead patterns on the rifles behind me. They just truly become functional works of art. When you're looking to stand out above the rest, check out Raven Rifles. This episode is brought to you by Foundation Stocks. I've been using Foundation's micarta line of stocks for years, and now with their new hybrid line combining micarta, carbon fiber, and Kevlar, you get that dead recoil impulse that their competition stocks have been known for, now in a lightweight hunting rifle that's light enough to take into the woods. I've been running their Centurion and Samson and Revelation, and now I have their Ezekiel and Gideon stocks, and I absolutely love them. Feel less and see more with Foundation stocks. This episode is brought to you by West Texas Ordnance. West Texas Ordnance is a full-service custom rifle shop, and that full-service custom rifle shop is located on a 2,500-yard shooting range. It doesn't get any cooler than that. They cut all of my barrels for my hunting rifles, competition rifles, test barrels, and they are all absolute hammers. Check out their patented switch-leg system for easy, repeatable barrel swaps, or the saw line of cartridges now including the 7 saw, 22 saw, and 25 saw. From their signature series of rifles all the way to their full custom rifles, they've got you covered. Next time you get a rifle going, check out West Texas Ordnance. Alpha Munitions sets the gold standard for rifle brass. Their OCD technology has been the first improvement for rifle brass in decades. I use it for hunting, competing. I use it in the business. Honestly, it's just the easy button for getting your ammo to shoot good. If you're looking to get the most out of your ammo or you want to lower your SDs, make sure you start out your ammo with a good foundation and use good quality brass. Find out why more top competitors are using Alpha Munitions brass and the PRS than any other brand. Next time you're getting your ammo started, make sure you start it out with Alpha Munitions brass. This show is partnered with Botnia Solutions. Botnia makes the most high-performing muzzle brakes on the market. They've got a low dust signature, so you're not getting the crap beat out of you when you're shooting prone They've got upward facing ports to help drive the rifle down when you're shooting positional and be able to see more through your scope. I love them. I've been running the MIDI on my hunting rifles and my NRL Hunter setup and couldn't be happier with it. And then when I need the most, I put the Maxi. I've got that on my PRS rifle. And when you need all of the recoil control that you can possibly get, look no further than Botnia Solutions. This show is partnered with Hawkins Precision. Hawkins makes precision rifle hunting components built to help you go further and shoot farther. From lightweight hunting rings to heavy tactical rings to hunter bottom metals and flush magazines, they've got you covered. I run Hawkins on all of my rifles. I've got their ultralight rings, their heavy tack rings, the cantilever mount, one piece mount for PRS, their M5 bottom metal, hunter bottom metals. I absolutely love it. I run them on everything. Next time you're getting a rifle going, make sure you finish it out with Hawkins Precision. This episode is brought to you by Lone Peak Arms. Lone Peak makes absolutely amazing competition and hunting actions. Their Razor Infusion line is available in short and long action, left or right, and stainless or titanium. I've been running Lone Peaks for years, and I've run them in snowy, muddy, sandy conditions, and they just keep on ticking. Your action is the heart of your rifle, and make sure you're starting it off strong. Next rifle you get going, make sure you start it out with a Lone Peak action. So now we've got Reagan Stahmer here. I'll let Reagan kind of introduce himself a little bit, but yeah, well, actually, you just get started. Let everybody kind of know who you are.
Gotcha. So I'm Reagan Stahmer. I've been shooting guns for most of my life. I started PRS 5 years ago.
Yeah,
started during COVID. And ever since then, I've had a passion for shooting competition sports. I love PRS and I love what they're doing. So yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, so I'm honored to have Reagan, and he's part of the Phalanx Arms shooting team, and has been absolutely killing it lately, to be honest. And he shoots rimfire and centerfire and PR. You don't shoot any NRL rimfire anymore.
I shoot NRL rimfire occasionally.
Okay.
I shoot mostly PRS though.
Okay, but yeah, definitely centerfire and rimfire, and has been honestly just burning it down. And I've got his list of like match finishes and accomplishments, and to be honest, it's too long to read and it would bore you guys at how good this guy is. But there are a couple more standout things that we'll get into a little bit. But one of the big ones, or two of the standouts for me this year, was you won Best of the West rimfire in Fort Worth at Gravestone. And quick little overview of that. It was a huge match.
Yeah. I was really proud about my performance in that match. I was shocked about how well that course of fire was and how well I competed in that one. The match they put on in Gravestone is absolutely wonderful. I love that range. It's my home range, and there were so many good competitors. It was a cash pay match. So there was 116 shooters that went to that match, all of them best of the best. I miraculously came out on top, and it was a lot because I beat Matt Steiner, and I've looked up to him since I started shooting.
Yeah, you hear that, Matt Steiner.
But he's an amazing guy. So many people that I looked up to, and I was one of the top ones in that match, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And for those that know Reagan, or if you don't, Reagan's a very, very nice, very kind kid. And I'll brag on him. That match was absolutely freaking stacked. Steiner, Bushman was there, right?
I believe so.
And Morgan.
Dave Ostrowski.
Yeah, it was just stacked course fire and crush it. And it was cash payout. How much did you take home for first place?
I think $4,400.
See, that's freaking sick. And okay, so is there a moment from that match where that stands out, where it's not it went from I'm going to come and I'm going to try and do my best to not only am I hanging in there, I'm in the running to win, or I think I'm going to win this thing?
So for that match, I didn't know I was in the lead until the last stage.
Oh, okay.
So I was just having fun. I was shooting. That's all I can remember is just hanging out with my squad, just having fun. And then the last stage was in a deer blind, shooting deer targets. And they were talking, people behind me in my group. They're saying that if I think it was either clean the stage or did something, I would have won the match. And that was a terrible thing to hear going up to my last stage. Because that stage was difficult. The prop wasn't very steady. And the deer, even though they were big targets, the wind was switchy. I remember shooting, going out and coming back in. I cleaned that stage. And then everybody congratulated me, and it was a very heartwarming experience because that was the first time I think I had a almost like no mental errors in that match. It was very reassuring that I was doing what I needed to do.
Walk me through. So you didn't know where you were sitting at all until right before that stage.
Now that I can remember, it really hit me that last stage.
Okay. So walk me through kind of like what you thought when you heard that. Like when kind of walk me through from the time you hear that to the time like you send your first shot. Like, are there nerves? Are there, how do you get over the nerves? Because this is I would love to hear what you have to say. Because I remember the first time I was in the running to win a match, and Bushman made fun of me when I came off the stage because it was a PRS barricade, and I was so nervous. I barely clipped the inside edge of the target on my first shot because I just squeezed the crap out of it because I was super nervous. So, what did you do to kind of get through that? And I don't know, like, what was your first thought when you cleaned it?
Well, after I heard that I was in the running to win the match, it was like first stage jitters times 10.
Yeah.
It was awful. I was shaking. I couldn't think properly because I was just so nervous about it.
Yeah.
I think it was a while before I actually shot that stage.
Oh, even better.
Even better, yeah. But I got to calm myself down, started focusing more on course of fire, trying to shoot, what would the wind be and all that stuff. I tried to get back into my routine. I think that calmed me down a little bit, but then this time started and it all went downhill from there. I remember like what it felt like breathing for 2 minutes before I sent my first shot just because I was trying to calm down.
Yeah.
But once I started shooting, I kind of got into the groove of things, and then I stopped thinking about all the stuff that was happening around me and just focused on shooting. And I think that's part of the reason that I cleaned that stage is because I was just focusing on shooting.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have a like printed out checklist?
I've tried multiple times, and then I either drop it somewhere and forget it, or I just get too stubborn and I don't look at it.
Okay. So is it more just like a mental run through of like what you've got to do?
Very much. And it's my checklist is basically from past mistakes.
Yep.
So, because I've forgotten to load ammo and I've forgotten mags and I've forgotten dope. And that checklist has basically become what it is because of the mistakes I've made.
Yeah. So can you give me an example of like what a run through of your checklist pre-stage would be like?
Yeah. So immediately after a stage, I don't do anything. I put my gun down and I load ammo because that's bitten me in the butt more times than I can count.
Same.
Then after that, I'll move to the next stage. I'll get targets laid out, get my dope, dial it in, and then I can just watch people shoot for the rest of the time that I'm waiting. Getting wind as periodically as I can. If something changes, change what my wind call is. But I want to get everything that I need to get done first. That way I can focus on my game plan and have that going through my head until I get into the stage.
Okay. So is there once you kind of get everything like set up and you get your setup and you
Mhm.
can kind of do what you want now. Is there anything in particular that you're watching for? Or is it like are you watching the shooters and like how they're building positions? Are you more like watching the wind and what it's doing? Or, is there, a combination, or is it stage dependent? Or, is there kind of what are you looking for when you, I guess, are prepping for a stage?
So it's kind of an amalgamation of that.
Ooh, good word. Solid word.
Uh,
Kid's smarter than me.
It depends on the stage. If the stage is because you can kind of hear from the squad in front
Right.
of you, and unless you're the first shooter, you kind of know what to expect. I'll base what I see from shooters based on who the shooter is. Like my best friends, I'll trust almost completely. Whereas some people that I don't know, I might like think about a hesitancy when they say, "Oh, I held 2/10 left."
And not sorry, not to interrupt, but that's a big thing that so I see so many, especially new guys, like they'll hear someone at a match like, oh, I held 2/10, or like, I went to this position, or da 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 da. And especially new guys, because they're trying to soak up as much information as they can or learn. Not everybody at a match is worth learning from, and that's about as nice as I can say it.
Mhm.
Taking note of who you actually take advice from, and to play it safe, if you don't know who they are, I wouldn't take advice from them. Like if it's someone that you should take advice from, someone will let you know that pretty fast, or you'll see
Mhm.
them shoot a stage once and know,
And you'll know.
and you'll know. But I'm glad you said that, because it is I fell victim of that a lot. It'd be like, oh, well, this guy said he held 3/10 and I started and I needed a mil. That guy's just an idiot and had his rifle canned 10 degrees one way.
Mhm.
Whatever the case is. But so, anyways, continue.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't follow people to a T. Like if somebody shoots before me and I know them, I don't do the exact same wind call unless I have no other reason. Like I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Um, I usually take what people say into account. I don't usually just follow it, unless it's like 0 wind, 1/10. Okay.
Right.
But there's definitely people that you should listen to, but not trust, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Like trust but verify kind of thing. There's a bunch of amazing shooters that I've been with, and my win call has been different from them. And you kind of just have to take that into account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get too, I guess, too deep into all the competition stuff, let everyone kind of know. So, and we were talking about it a little before. So you like to hunt. You've done some other stuff outside of just PRS. Kind of tell us, like, I guess, how you got into this. I would love. I honestly didn't know you still hunted, so I would love to know more about that and kind of, how it
Yeah.
all goes together.
So I started out hunting. Forgot what age I started, but it was really young.
You're 16 now, right?
17.
17.
I started out, like my whole life's been around guns. It's just who I've been around. My grandpa, my dad, they've both been gun geeks, kind of. But I've been around guns my whole life. I started hunting real young. And then COVID hit at 2020. I was 12. And to get out of the house, we found a PRS match roughly 40 minutes away from our house. We went, I think we watched, and it was just something that we were interested in. So we started to get into that. Me and my dad are both only children. So we started out trying to shoot with one gun. That did not work. So we kept upgrading from that. And then eventually we started realizing that, hey, this is a whole giant thing. We can go to multiple matches and not just these monthly matches that they hold. And I think after that, the ball started rolling, and I am where I am now.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. And so what did you start out hunting and what do you still like to hunt?
So once I started competition, I stopped kind of hunting. I've been focusing more on competition. But originally, I would just go out in a deer blind and either shoot bucks or pigs.
And pigs. Yeah.
Pigs.
So I mean, I know the answer, but do you think doing all of this has made you a better hunter?
I think if I started hunting again, it would definitely make me a better hunter.
Yeah.
Like tenfold.
Yeah.
Because before I didn't know how to hold a rifle even. And now I know all these things, all these tricks about shooting and marksmanship. I think it would change the way I think about rifles in terms of hunting. I would trust the rifle more and trust myself a lot less.
Yeah. No, and that's I mean, that, to be honest, that's what, like, why I got into competing. It's why a bunch of my friends got into competing. It's like they all like to hunt, and it makes, better hunter. And before we get really rolling back into the PRS stuff, so you've shot what, two or three in a row? I know you shot our match, but
I think I shot
two. So we were talking about it. You said you liked coming to our match, but thank you. Dust Devil Duel coming 2026. Get signed up. Guy, I think registration opens like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks or so. Like, it's coming up very soon. But you said like the NRL hunter like style of shooting isn't necessarily for you. Like, why? What makes you say that? Like, what made you have a good time at the match, but also grasp that style isn't necessarily for you?
Yeah. So I love how hunter matches flow, especially yours, because I was shooting as an RO, so I was shooting by myself pretty much. And it was fun being out in the wilderness, basically, trying to find targets and shooting them as fast as I could. Probably not the best thing. But because I was approaching it like a PRS match. And I think the gap between a PRS match and a hunter match is what kind of keeps me from enjoying a hunter match as much as I could. Because I like the structured part of PRS. I like having a game plan about this target, this target, this target, not kind of having to guess.
Yeah.
I can see where hunter matches would be so incredibly fun. And I got to experience that from your match. It's just, I think I'm so used to the organized structure of PRS matches that I can't really go from one to another without a lot more practice, at least.
No, I mean, yeah, it's a totally different. I mean, it's precision rifle, but it's a totally different ball game. I think that's interesting. I just thought it was interesting because most adults with full functioning brains can't comprehend like necessarily what their strong suits are and what they, and what they excel at. So I just thought it was interesting that you were able to like analyze it at that kind of level off of a couple of matches. And it's, I mean, not everybody has to shoot everything. It's totally fine. But I thought that was very interesting. So getting back into PRS and especially the best of the West match. And so now you've been shooting for a few years, obviously shooting very well. Walk me through, like, is it intimidating going against guys like 10 years older than you, twice your age? Like, so, some of these guys have been shooting longer than you've been alive. I mean, in reality, and especially now you're beating most of them. And, and was that, is it different now versus, when you were 12 or 13 getting started? Like, kind of walk me through how that's been. And also I'd kind of love to hear like how you were like received, like how were people, towards you? Were there any assholes or, was everybody great, and kind of walk us through all
Yeah.
that.
When I started really getting into the competition, where I started like recognizing these big names that are always winning matches, I've kind of looked up to them,
Right.
especially like still from when I was probably 13 is when I started getting into actual competition. I've been looking up to them for that long. And I still look up to them because, I mean, even though I don't see them as like adults, I see them as fellow competitors. I still look up to them like they were when I was just starting out. And they
Mhm.
were so much better than I was. And being able to compete and end up in the mix of these people that I look up to is such a rewarding experience because I get to basically be what's the word?
You're like shoulder to shoulder with your
Shoulder
peers.
yeah, shoulder to
Yeah.
shoulder with the people you look up to, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's I remember well, we were talking about all the Silent Night trophies. Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, my first Silent Night podium, and it hit me. I was like, I've been like, Bushman has always been one that I like super looked up to, and I know you do too. And like standing next to him, one spot above him, Bushman, 2 years in a row. We're not going to talk about this year, but it's, it's cool and it's kind of surreal to have that moment. But so has anybody like, has it ever been an issue being, I don't want to say you're a kid, like you're a young adult, but like a kid in the grand scheme of things, like have you ever had problems with it, or has anybody ever given you issues or like poked fun a little too much where you're like, hey, shut up?
One thing about this sport is it's filled with amazing people.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever had anybody look down on me for being a kid. If anything, they look up to me. Not that's not the right way to say it, but
Like
they're
uplifting.
proud of me kind of.
That's awesome.
And it's incredible to have a community of people that just want the best for you. Even though you're competing for their spot,
Yeah.
they still want you to succeed. And it's an amazing feeling being supported by people that you're competing with.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of a weird dynamic. To be honest, I've only ever seen, or I guess been involved in one other sport where I was powerlifting, and like but yeah, it's you watch people truly trying, like, I mean, I don't want to say cheating, but like I'm not saying to that extent, but people will do whatever they can to get a competitive edge. I mean, to beat all these guys, and then you
Mhm.
show up and they're like, "Oh yeah, dude, I just held 3/10 and it worked great. Go do
Yeah,
it."
and then, "Oh, if you need a spare trigger, I have one." And then, "Oh, do you need to shoot my rifle because yours went down?" That's something you don't see very often, is people
Yeah.
looking out for you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's cool. So, well, I mean, and to be honest, I figured that's how it was, but I also know, I mean, there's a lot of, like alpha personalities at this type of stuff. So, you never know. So,
Yeah.
okay. So you shoot centerfire and rimfire. You've done a crap ton of both. I'm going to do a little bit of a generality, but you're going to get the gist of what I'm talking about. So, pushing, kind of I don't want to say either of these sports are like truly pushing like the distance and like the grand scheme of things. It's not like they're not ELR matches, but we are shooting pretty far. I would say, most PRS matches kind of maxing out, 1,000, 1,100 yards, and rimfire matches probably 2 to 3 for the most part. What like similarities and differences have you seen in shooting rimfire at like 200, 250 yards and shooting a centerfire at like 1,000 yards? Because I mean, there are similarities. There's definitely similarities. There's way more differences, but kind of what, as someone that's done so much of it and done well, like what do you see the differences and what do you carry over, and then what was challenges, transitioning between the two?
So, one thing that's kinda surprising to me is that I think it's like 200 yards for rimfire is about 1,000 yards for centerfire in terms of like drop and wind and all that. So when you have matches that push out to 300, 400 yards in rimfire matches, it's like spray and pray almost.
Right.
That's one of the crazy things to me is how different the sports are because they feel the same. Like to me, you're still shooting, you're still using the
Right.
same fundamentals, you're still kind of processing information the same because they're roughly the same match, just a bigger boom. I love centerfire because it's much more reliable.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
I trust your ammo. I trust my gun. And to some extent, I believe the bullet more than for rimfire. Whereas in rimfire, it feels like there's a lot more variability, especially in wind and ammo, especially because you can't really control the
Right.
ammo. But at the same time, rimfire is much more easy to read for me because the bullet's going so much slower. I can actually see and process the things that are going on. Whereas in centerfire, because things are so violent after you pull the trigger, I can't process information as well. And I think that's why I think I do better rimfire is both because I have more experience behind the gun in rimfire and because I can process information faster or there's more information that I can download from rimfire than centerfire.
That's okay. That's super interesting. So what do you think the disconnect or like what slows that down? Do you think it's the recoil? Do you think it's the noise, both, or something else?
Recoil and reading the plate.
Okay.
For rimfire, you just pull the trigger and the bullet goes downrange. You don't feel any recoil, especially if you have a 20-pound gun. Like,
Yeah, what does your rimfire gun weigh?
I think both centerfire and rimfire are about 20, 22 pounds.
Okay.
So not super heavy, not super light.
Yeah.
But for centerfire, I think the recoil is it's something to get used to because you're expecting to just be able to see a clear scope after you pull the trigger, especially going from a rimfire match to a centerfire match. You're expecting a clear scope, then all of a sudden you're pushed back and you're shocked because you didn't process what was going on downrange because you just got hit in the face by a recoil.
Right.
One of the things that's specifically difficult for me is reading the plate for centerfire because it's so much more violent downrange where you hit the edge or you hit center or you hit dirt. The amount of flashback from dirt, the amount of torque that the bullet introduces to the target from plates is so much more different than the rimfire. Because rimfire, most of the times you can see where it hits on the plate.
A black dot just appears.
Black dot. Or you can watch trace just fall into the plate. Or you can watch it hit the dirt. Whereas centerfire.
You see trace in centerfire?
I see trace sometimes. I need to get better at it. But
well, I like never see it. So I was curious because I know you see it in rimfire for sure. But
rimfire,
I was curious
about the bullet.
Yeah. Well, the bullet, not trace. But yeah. Okay. Anyways, continue.
But some situations, like some matches, because of the conditions or something like that, you can very rarely see trace from centerfire matches. But then some of them, I see them 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost rewarding just to know that, hey, I saw trace that stage. Oh, I saw trace that bullet because it feels like I'm accomplishing something just by saying it.
You did everything right to be able to see it.
And I don't look for trace. It's just when I notice it.
And that's kind of like, that's a good word to put it. I'll notice it some, but I never watch for it. I don't think I'm smart enough to switch my brain back and forth fast enough, but okay, continue. Or is there more to that?
Not really, but to the point of the bullet's going to tell you where it hit at the target, whereas trace is kind of a variability that you either see it or not. And it wouldn't lie to you, but you could read it wrong.
Yes. And to be honest, that's why I never really dedicated any time to trying to get to where I could see trace. Cause and I'm sure you've seen it, and it's guys that I know they know what they saw and are good enough to say what they're saying. But I've seen multiple times where like guys will come off and be like, dude, you didn't call that impact. I watched trace go right into the middle of the target. And for whatever reason, like I watched trace go right over it, and they just saw something, and like, I don't know. It's just not super reliable. And okay. So you've obviously been figuring something out on reading plates for centerfire because I've watched you progressively get better. So is that still the biggest thing that you struggle with, or have you found little tidbits as you've gone along that's made that? Because to be honest, that was always my biggest struggle, and that's why I shoot the saw, because I needed something like you hit here kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. So that's like, so I very much understand that
Mhm.
struggle. So like, have you figured out a little bit more, or is it still the hardest thing?
I think I've figured out some of it. I've started to experiment with in training, trying to figure out what looks like what. If I miss bottom left, what it looks like, miss bottom right, what it looks like. I still think it's one of the main difficulties when I'm shooting,
Okay.
besides wind. Wind's the main one. But especially starting out, I think the main issue was reading the plate under recoil. Whereas
Mm,
now that I'm used to the recoil because I'm a little bit bigger than I was last year, recoil is not as much of an issue for me because I've shot enough to where I'm used to it. Whereas reading the plate and wind are the two main problems with centerfire, whereas wind is the main problem with windfire, rimfire.
okay. So what? So I guess, sorry, we're going down this rabbit hole a little bit, but what? Because to be honest, I think this is some of the like most useful tips, because I think this is where all struggle, or all shooters struggle, especially starting out. So what have you found now to help you read the plate?
That's a good
Or I guess
question.
like, what is your key, like your number one thing that you look for between, when, or what that you prepare to watch for while, like when the bullet's in the air? Like, what is that first thing that's going to jump out at you?
Usually the first thing that jumps out at me is which direction the plate rocks.
Yep.
If I can catch it, that's a really good indicator of which side I hit. The second thing is I usually look at mirage and see which way it's going and which way I could have missed or hit the target. Like if it's left to right and I was shooting, it's most likely going to end up on the right,
Right. Down the downwind side.
downwind.
Yeah.
So I take multiple things into account, but usually it's the plate rock that
Okay.
sells me on something. And then for dirt, which is my main problem because with centerfire, it just explodes. And
Right.
it's all around the target. With whereas windfire, you see a little dot hit there.
Right.
That's still an issue for me, but I think I try to figure out where it hit based on how the wind moves the dust, if that makes sense. Like
Yes.
I hope that I see, like, I mean, it's a close range, so it's harder to see. If I hope I see where the bullet hits and how it kind of, the dust splatters away from it. And then if that fails, then I try to see where the most dust is when it's flying away,
Yeah.
if
Okay.
that makes
No,
sense.
yeah, no, that's solid. So I do similar things. Plate rock definitely is the easy one.
Mm.
The only downside is like if you, especially when they get inside 400 yards, definitely like 350, is it's that so violent you may catch the,
The back.
catching it going back the other way. Where and mainly this is kind of how I do everything now, but why I like the saw, because there's more bullet hitting the plate. But there's some guys that they can see, they'll watch that, they'll call it, I don't remember. I've heard it called a bunch of different things, like, but like the star, the poof, the circle, the
Spalling.
halo. Yeah, and you can see the little, and it'll make a little circle where it hits. I'm not good enough. Like I never catch that, but I watch the like spall dust triangle, like as it comes, and I've gotten pretty good at seeing like where that comes from, like, or
Mhm.
where that origination point is. Or worst case, like, and I remember like this stood out at Clay's for me a lot, 'cause for whatever reason, because like half his plates were black, and so for me the gray stood out against the black a lot more. But if I couldn't see where it started, I could at least see if that spalling dust went across the front of the plate. If it did, I know I hit upwind of it, and if it didn't, I knew I hit downwind of it. And that was kind of my little bit of a cheat, or like, finding something.
Yeah.
But we'll work on that. We'll
Mhm.
go to the range, see if we
Yeah.
can
See
start
if we can
figuring
do
that
some.
out. Um,
I've never thought about the direction of spalling. I usually think about where I kind of try to deduce where it originates. I've never thought about trying to use the way the spalling goes as a way to kind of figure out what's going on down the range.
Yeah. So that's it. Well, and because I mean, we live where we live, it's always windy. And so, like, the triangle, it gets bigger as it goes away.
Mhm.
But worst case, if it's just a flash of something, but if you see it go across the plate, then it
Yeah.
at least tells you something.
Mhm.
Look at us. We're efficient. We already hit that question. So, one thing, and so this is something that I have very much struggled with, and now you and your dad get to, but living in West Texas, thank God Clayton's place is open close to y'all now, but there's really not a whole lot around here when it comes to precision rifle.
Right.
So for those that don't know, like, so I live in Amarillo, they're out of Lubbock. Rock Rifle Club. WTO. WTO does both of our barrels.
Thank you, Clayton.
Yeah. Thank you, Clayton. You're the man. But it's a really really awesome shooting facility. Goes out to 2,500 yards, and they're hosting 3 or 4 PRS regional matches a year, and now doing a handful of NRL 1-day matches and some other things. Outside of that, I mean, there's nothing within like 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours of us.
Yeah. So for us, it's Caprock is 40 minutes away, and then the next closest one is Gravestone at what, 4 hours away?
Yeah.
It's a big jump.
Yeah, it's insane. And so, I mean, with that, I guess like, what are some of the struggles that y'all have found, like trying to, because I mean, y'all have gone, full bore into this, traveling the world with this now. What sucks about it? What do you like about it? And I guess more importantly, what would you like for the people that also live in big rural areas where there's not necessarily an established, shooting discipline close to them, especially like I'm thinking in the Western states, there's big gaps like this.
Well, luckily, I don't have to pay the bill, so it's a little bit easier for me. I sometimes have to get stuck driving, but what can you do?
Yeah.
But I think it's just not necessarily staying in shape, but staying in the right mental state when you're driving for upwards of 7 hours to a match, even a 1-day match.
Yeah.
It's very taxing on your body. It's more taxing than you think. One thing that I think we do, and I think you kind of have to for some matches, is we usually stay either 1 or 2 nights before the match in order to at least get somewhat rested up, and then we sleep a lot the night before. I think that helps a little bit. But the main issue is money, and I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
thanks, main sponsor.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and so that's actually a really interesting take. So what do you what do you do to because it is mind-numbingly boring to drive some of these highways for as
Mhm.
long as we do. What do you I guess one, what do you do to pass the time, but what do you do to not be like to stay ready for when you get there?
Well, I'm still 17, so I don't get too exhausted with stuff, but usually I just fart around, doom scrolling, something like that. Just being dumb teenager. I know dad likes to listen to a lot of podcasts like Miles to Matches and stuff like that. I think that kind of helps get you into the state of I'm traveling to a match. I need to like get ready. Luckily, I'm not old enough or I haven't gotten used to driving. I still think it's somewhat fun that
Yeah.
I have at least some sort of freedom. So driving to Gravestone isn't a big deal for me.
Yeah.
And then I listen to music I like to or podcasts about shooting. So I think that kind of helps because
Okay.
you're listening to content that's based around PRS.
Yep.
Or at least any shooting. I think that helps a lot. But I don't get fatigued from traveling as much as probably dad does. So I think that kind of helps.
So what's your favorite podcast to listen to?
The one I listen to the most when we're going to matches and stuff like that is probably Miles to Matches. I don't specifically like listening to things. I would much prefer dead silence, which is probably a weird thing for most people.
Oh my God, I couldn't do it.
But we've listened to this podcast and we've listened to Miles to Matches, and then sometimes we just listen to random stuff, comedy, stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
Having
Yeah, I
fun.
was just curious. For those that, I'm sure most people that if you're super into PRS, you've heard Miles to Matches, but if you haven't, Miles to Matches is a great podcast. So, two very, very good shooters talking shit in a van while they drive to matches. It's pretty entertaining. So walk us through, is it hard balancing a super heavy competition schedule and being in school?
For me, it is extremely hard because I'm either so invested in like curricular activities like
Mhm.
school and all that stuff that I forget to focus on shooting, or I get to the point where I'm so focused on shooting that I forget that I'm in school.
Right.
I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten more used to trying to balance the two. And I think now that I'm focusing, because the last 2 years, we've been focusing on we want to shoot all the matches we can, which
Mhm.
is very demanding if you're doing multiple things like
For
school
sure.
and all that stuff. But now that we're focusing more on one, like centerfire or rimfire, since we're focusing on one, it's much easier to manage, and I can get more in the swing of things in terms of schoolwork and shooting and practicing and all the other stuff that I do.
Yeah. I know y'all, you hit it real hard during the summer, right?
Very, pretty
Do
much
you
every week.
Yeah, y'all. I will say y'all's travel dedication is impressive to say the least. So this just crossed my mind. Is there a who are some of like your big competitors for PRS in the junior division? Like I know
In
Gage
junior.
is doing well, but like and who all do you kind of keep
Um,
running into?
Gage. So there's a lot of people that there's a main three. There's me, Gage, and what's his name? This is rude to forget his name.
Trigby,
No, I've actually never. I don't think I've ever shot with Trigby. I've shot with
Dylan.
Dylan Bailey.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that I forgot your name. Um,
It's all right. I'll allow it because he beat me at the last match.
he's beat me on a lot of matches. He's a really good shooter.
Oh,
and
he's unbelievably good.
he's an amazing person. I love him, even though I forget his name.
Yeah. Yeah, no, him and his dad are super nice
Oh yeah,
people.
amazing people.
So I guess I would have to assume like I mean like we all see y'all at matches and there's not just a tremendous amount of junior shooters, so like we all kind of get to know who y'all are, but
Mhm.
I've got to think there's almost like a club or like a big rivalry. Like if you run like what's it? I mean, do you have any big rivalries, or is it just everyone's like super excited to see each other and it's just like hang out and finally have someone your age to hang out with?
It's a lot like getting beat, or it's a lot like shooting with other people. Like you're still competing to win.
Right.
You kind of like, oh, I hope I win. I hope you get second, kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But we're still looking out for each other, and we're all friends, and it's friends before competition almost. Like
Yeah.
if something goes wrong, we're gonna be right next to them trying to help them. But in the end, I want to get the trophy more than I want you to get the trophy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna help you, but I'll step on your toes on the way up.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah. No, I think mainly I kind of wanted to point it out because like I think I want to see more, and there are more and more kids getting involved
Mhm.
and definitely seeing even younger kids getting started. But
Yeah.
it's if you have a kid and you're listening, or you are a junior listening to this, like that you would have some people to hang out with that aren't going to spit in your face when you walk up, and like they it's a pretty fun thing. So I've got to imagine shooting as much as you did, between the two disciplines and school and, family and life and just everything. Like, how do you handle not burning out, not saying, oh my God, I don't want to go or I don't want to practice or whatever?
It's a really big issue of mine, and I'm still struggling with it because I was burnt out after Worlds and after
Yep.
because I had NRL finale, Worlds, then PRS finale, and those three big matches
Yeah.
just took everything out of me.
Yeah. I could see that.
I'm still trying to get back into the swing of things. I think because we're focusing more on centerfire, I'm going to be focusing more on practice because I used matches as practice instead of kind of practicing on my own. I'd go to a match because of that simulates the stress and stuff that you don't get from practice. I need to get back into the swing of things. Yeah, it's about
Yeah. Well, and I mean, yeah, I get it. I like this time to kind of, take it easy and
sleep in.
yeah, I mean, I get it, but yeah, I mean, so, I mean, are you still liking shooting that many matches every year? Like, is it, is it too much? Is it, I mean, just what are your thoughts on all that?
I don't think I'll do what I did last year again because
Yeah.
I shot every weekend for most of the year.
Hmm.
It was rough. I still love shooting. I love competing. I love the people that I shoot with.
Yeah.
So I'll probably, I mean, it sounds like a lot. I'll probably half the amount of matches I go to, but that's from every week too.
Right.
It's every 2 weeks. So it's still a
Yeah.
lot, but it's a lot less it's a lot less stress on me, and it keeps me from getting burnt.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
No, okay. Well, so you brought up Worlds. So for those that don't know, Reagan was part of Team USA. Or yep, he's rocking the jersey and everything. I think the IPRF and the world team portion of this is one of the coolest things that's come out of all this stuff. And so the IPRF Centerfire World Championship match is going to be at Gravestone in September for 2026 this year, which I'm ecstatic about. I think it's going to be cool. But tell us about what it was like being getting to represent the US, as like part of a team, because that is something that we don't get to do on the PRS side, is like a team aspect of it. But then, where'd you go? What was it like traveling to a different country with a rifle? And I've gotten to meet a bunch of these international competitors like you have, and I love it. They're some of the coolest people. But kind of walk me
Oh yeah.
through, what was Worlds like, and what you took away from that.
It was an amazing experience. I mean, flying was not great, but luckily we have a pretty small airport, so
Yeah.
you're not committing a sin trying to fly with a gun. So getting there was a lot easier than getting back, at least flying wise. Sitting in a plane for 10 hours was not fun, but what can you do?
Right.
When we got to London, it's such a different place. I mean, it's weird to think that that place is all the way across the world, but yet it still kind of feels the same. There's still trees. It was a weird thing to me because things were so similar and yet so different. It was great seeing all the old like castles and all that stuff
Yeah.
from over there. But when we got to the match and I was seeing all these people from different countries, it hit me like this is a big deal. There's so many amazing people that went to that match. There's so many people that I met from countries that I've never been to and probably will never be. It was a very heartwarming experience because everybody was nice. Even people that like I couldn't really understand them because
Right.
they were trying to speak English or didn't. It was almost life altering because you meet people from different countries who have different life experiences, who have lived different lives, and they're all coming here to shoot guns. It
Yep.
was real fun.
Yeah. No, I think yeah, the international portion of this has been so cool. And like I mean, you make friends. Like it's a crazy concept to think that these things in brought us to like have friends in France and Germany and
Lithuania.
yeah, and yeah, it's I mean New Zealand, Australia, Africa. I mean, it's so cool. And I'm thankful for the guys that choose us for ammo. And now it's just become like like we can't wait for everyone to like get back together and hang
Mhm.
out, and it's
Yeah.
cool. It's a cool deal. Give me we're gonna pivot a little bit. Give me I know you were talking about like a bunch of these guys that you look up to. Who is a pro shooter that either you look up to the most or that you've learned the most from?
So probably the one that I've learned the most from is Shane Ward. He's a really good buddy of mine, and he's 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 a little mean. He's he's an amazing person, and I love him to death. Another one is Austin Bushman. He is mean. He will make fun of you if you drop a shot, but he does that to everybody, and he's a very kind person if you discard all the mean comments that he makes.
Yes. Yeah, and to be that's one of honestly, that's one of the reasons I like hanging out with Bushman as much as I do is he can have one of the meanest senses of humor like I can and is not afraid to dish out, but he can take it. Like you can throw it right back at him and he'll handle it fine. But if you can understand that it's all just jokes, like he is truly a super genuine, like nice guy. He may not want people to know that, but he is a
Yeah.
nice guy.
When you first meet him, you'll think he's the meanest person in the world, but
It's just because he's from Oklahoma. So, what if you could pick one thing that Shane taught you and one thing that Bushman taught you that stands out, what would that be?
I think they both kinda taught me the same thing, and it's not necessarily that they showed me something. It's
Hmm.
just what I've learned from them is they seem to cope with stress very well on the clock. They noth well, you always have a bad stage, but
Sure.
they don't let it get to them, and they don't well, Shane sometimes, but it doesn't affect you to the next stage
Yeah.
necessarily, and I think that's something that I still struggle with, and it's just a amazing thing, especially because Austin will have a bad stage and then immediately follow up with a great one.
Right.
And he won't even complain about the bad stage. I mean, he might joke about it, but he won't complain
Right.
about it. And it's very inspiring to be able to see someone who you look up to go through a struggle and then come out on top.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely agree. And to be honest, there is this stage always stands out in my mind. It was I think not this year. Yeah, it was last year. For whatever reason, me and Bushman were at like all the same matches. We were squatted together at all of them, and then because it's Burdis and Bushman, he always shot right after me, and I think it was like 7 matches or something like that. But we were at one of Justin's matches on top of the tower shooting his long range stage. Me and Bushman were the last two of our squad. The wind was, I mean, it was like 12 to 15. It was, up there, but way bad wind, like direction swings. And it was, it was, I mean, you've shot, it's like 750, 900, 1050, and then coming back.
Mm.
And you ask everyone coming down the stairs, like, hey, what'd you hold? And, one guy would be like, oh, it's straight up a tenth, 2/10, 1/10, straight up, no big deal. And then the next guy comes off and is like a mil, 1.5, 2 mil. And is like, oh my God, what is going on? And we both laid down and we're talking back and forth. And then I got up and I think I got the very much like headwind. I think I did like 2, 3, 4 and cleaned the stage and it was still holding. I was like, dude, I ran 2, 3, 4. I'll get out of the way. Go. And he's like, cool, ready, set, go. And sends his first shot and it was like a mil off. And I just hear him go, oh no. And I was like, oh my God. And he didn't plan for this. Like, how's he going to do it? And it was just wild. He sent that first shot. I saw him measure it. And then he kind of like took his head off the gun, looked around for a sec, took a breath, went back, and then got the next 9 and didn't. I was like, dude, how did you, like, what? And he was like, well, I measured it and moved to center. I was like, yeah, I understand how you did the second shot. What about the next 8? And he was like, well, I mean, math.
I'm just that good.
It is just so impressive to see. Like, there's been a couple of things with like him or Gain or like Clay or a couple of these guys that it's just unbelievable how good they are. But yeah, it's interesting to get to watch something like that. Okay, so I've got a few like just a little more simple questions.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite prop to shoot off of?
Standard prop that's not intentionally terrible.
Or how about both? Worst one you've ever shot off of and just one you don't like in general?
Probably the worst one I've ever shot off of was 2 T-posts nailed in the ground with like bungee cord wrapped around them. It was
like shooting sticks kind of deal.
Basically, it was awful. I think I tore my bag on it too, so that was just insult to injury.
Yep.
And then probably the worst standard prop is either spools that don't have a solid backer on them.
Yep.
Or just something that's really low. Like you can't go prone because you're gonna break your back, but you can't kneel because it's too nearly low on the ground.
Yep.
Those are rough for me.
Yeah. 100%. Okay, so I do want to, and we've been talking scopes a little bit, so I kind of know what you're working on, but with the kind of the new, all the rage is these high magnification scopes and, all the 7 to 35s and all that stuff. What's your thought on, like high magnification, big field of view, is one more important than the other? Do neither matter or both super important? What do you think?
So I run Zico. It's amazing glass. I love the scope. If you have issues trying to find targets, I think field of view matters.
Yep.
I don't personally have that issue, so I don't think field of view affects me nearly as much as it would with people that can't find targets as well, even though I still do lose targets. What matters, and magnification only matters if you're shooting tiny targets at one distance where you're not moving, to me.
Yep.
Like, you can't have 40 magnification and have to pan.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So to me, what works best is a clear scope.
Yep.
Because I think that helps me deduce what happens downrange. I think that helps me find targets because I can see them. Like if it's dark, if they're in the shade, I can see a target a little bit better if I had a clear scope. I think if you could get, because Zico has been the clearest scope that I've looked through so far. I mean, that Zico and Night Force are very, very similar. Zico is just a little bit better out far. That little bit sharper image helps me a lot more than being able to zoom in a lot more or being able to see everything downrange because I have an incredibly wide field of view. I think magnification is the least important, and field of view could be very helpful if you get in that situation.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, I mean, there's definitely trends that I think can help people, but I do think some of it is personal preference. I'm curious as to what your take was on it. But what magnification do you generally like to shoot stages on?
15 to 20. 15 being standard, 20 being, I need to shoot a KYL, 20.
Okay.
And 15 is a little strong, but that's usually for centerfire. For rimfire, I might go 12 because it's so much closer, so I don't need as much magnification.
But yeah, I didn't think about being a lot closer. I want to go to the range with you and work on you shooting higher magnification. That might help.
That might help with me reading targets.
Yeah, so when I got started, I was shooting everything on like 14 power for the most part. And it was mainly so I could finish a stage on time and find targets.
Gotcha.
And then I think I ended up like just settling around 15, 16. And that was just kind of what I did for a long time. And then I don't know, someone said something about shooting. I think I heard, and this was back like when the Gen 2s were still like the big thing. And he was like, yeah, I shoot a 27 power on, you know, and I was like, whoa, hold on.
Whoa.
And I just started kind of messing with it. And now I shoot mostly like 22 to 24. And on like KYLs, I'll go to like 30 to 35 if I don't have to move. But once I started doing that, I could see the stuff on the plate a lot better. The the spall,
Right.
So
it's much more.
Yeah, you're zoomed in a lot
defined.
more. So we'll work on that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm glad we asked about that. God, I had this list. I was going to ask you music or silence, and you're a serial killer, so using silence. Okay, tell me a stage that stands out in your mind that you wish you could reshoot, because we all have one.
Okay. There's so many.
Yeah, right.
So many awful stages that I've blocked out of my mind. That's a rough one. I need to think about.
We can come back to it. Okay, think on that one.
Never mind. I found it.
Okay.
Last stage on the positional punisher, I forgot all my ammo.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay. So it was off. I forgot what prop it was off of. It was a KYL. You got a rear tripod, got on it, shot, because I had a backup mag with 5 rounds in it, and I didn't load my primary. So I had 5 rounds in a 12-round stage. So I got on it, shot the first 5. It was already a crapshoot stage. I was already failing miserably. I think I hit 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 5. And I loaded the racks to the next round. Nothing happened. I was like, oh, crap. Went back on my main one, nothing. So I put my gun down, ran back. I don't think this is technically legal in the rules, but I went back to my bag, loaded 7 rounds in my magazine, ran back, shot. I got all my shots off in time, but I got like 3 hits.
I mean, yeah, it's stuff like that. Your chances of doing well is slim to none, but that's wild that you got all the rounds off. Okay, so what was your what is a takeaway from that?
When in doubt, load your mag, because if you don't have a round to shoot at the target, there's no reason to even continue.
Yeah.
Because you can figure out if your dope's wrong.
Right.
But you can't really figure out if you don't have something to shoot down.
Right.
I think that stage is why loading my mag is the first thing I do after it. After a stage.
That's what I'm saying. That is the number one reason, is the first thing. And like, I won't talk to anybody. I won't like get win calls. I won't until I go sit down, load my mag, and it's back in my deal. And then I'll like look up, because I've done that. You do it once, you get frustrated. You do it a second time, then you're just pissed. You're like, I'm never doing this again.
And that match with that last stage, I still tied Austin Bushman. So that was a very fun moment, because I came from the worst of the worst. I just threw this whole match away from that last stage, and I was like, oh, I tied Austin Bushman. I'm fine now.
He's washed up now anyways. It's fine. Okay, so, and I know your dad's here, but I'm sure y'all have talked about all this already. What is it? What's it like traveling with your dad, going to matches? I mean, I know y'all get along for the most part, but what are some good things? What are some bad that, maybe people don't necessarily have to think about, that don't have to travel with someone all the time?
After you spend, like for Worlds, you spend a week constantly with them, you kind of get short-tempered with them. It's really nice because your dad always has your back.
Right.
It's really nice shooting with someone who, if something bad happens, you're fine. He's got you. I love that about it. Shooting with my dad. It's amazing being able to shoot in the same squad with him, and both him cheering you on and you cheering him on, and joking around. But other than the occasional short-temperedness that you get when you're traveling on the road with your dad for 12 hours for some of the drives, it's nothing but fun.
Good. No, it's awesome. And I will brag on your dad. I see, there are more and more juniors getting into this, and your dad does a really good job. He's very supportive. Honestly, one of the things that I appreciate about y'all's dynamic is like, he's always there for you if you need something. But other than that, like, he's kind of out of the way. It's like, if he wants to shoot a match with you, y'all go shoot together, but it's still you shooting and him shooting. It's not, like, he's not stepping into your spotlight, and
he's not dialing my win. He'll tell me I'm doing something stupid when I dial the wrong way.
Right. But it's still, it's your experience. And, and I'm not talking bad about anybody in particular, but, just especially when, as a parent, like their pride and joy starts having a lot of, success like you are, it can be a little too much. And some parents like to get in the limelight a little bit. And so it's cool to see just a good dynamic between the two of you. And it's cool. You got a good one.
Yeah. I think that's part of the reason why I have a lot of fun shooting matches with him is because we're both shooting our own matches together. He's not trying to shoot my match. I'm not trying to shoot his. We both shoot together. We're both there. We're both having fun.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So two small questions, kind of close everything up. You're on the road, going to a match, either traveling or you got to a hotel and you're getting settled in. What's a go-to snack you're grabbing at the gas station?
Peanut M&Ms and Diet Dr. Pepper.
What? Okay.
It happened and it's now a thing.
That's fair. It's not the answer I was expecting, but it's
not, but that's what happens.
Okay. Then if there's other juniors listening to this that, either have recently got into this or are thinking about getting into shooting sports in general, like what piece of advice would you give to them to either get going or push into it?
You don't need top of the line equipment to get into it. You just need to be
100%.
able to shoot. Always go into a match. I mean, when you're starting out, you're always going to have to learn, but go into every single match, even finales, even world championships and stuff like that. Always go into it as a learning experience, because if in the end, if you compete, great, fine. But if you miss one stage and you don't learn from it, then it's thrown away. You didn't gain anything from going to that match other than competing in it. Whereas if you learn from it, then it's 100% worth it.
And honestly, that's such good advice. And yes, it's always smart to learn. I completely agree with you. But the fact that you threw in like even finales, even world championships, like that's what sets you apart from the average guy. Like the guy that's going to get to the podium and winning stuff. That's how he's treating stuff. Like that gets me kind of amped to hear that answer. But I think that's a super good piece of advice.
And another thing is once you find the people that you like to be around them. Especially like in this, if there's people that support you and stuff, try to be around them, because that for most of the people, like the friends that I have, they know more than me. So it's best that I spend time around them and I get to know them. That way I can learn by osmosis. And stuff like that. Yeah. And as a young gun, you kind of have I want to help, because people will want to help a young gun or a junior, as PRS says. But yeah,
no, that's awesome. So I'm a gear nerd. I know you kind of are a little bit too. So I know people will be very interested to know. Walk us through what your rimfire setup is and what your centerfire setup is.
So they're as identical as we could get them.
Okay.
We both have they're the same color. We both have MDT Elite chassis. They both have the same triggers at the same weight. They both have the same settings on them. We run American Rifle Company scope rings and Zico scopes. They're the same scopes, same reticle. Everything's the same. Both run truck axle barrels, and then the only difference is the brake on the end of a centerfire.
What brake are you running?
Currently a Botnia Maxi.
Very nice.
Big and heavy.
Yep. Yeah, I freaking love it. It's on that one. And then what triggers? Trigger Tech
Diamond.
Single stage?
Yes.
What pull weight are you running?
I actually don't know. Probably around 8 ounces or more. It's not super light, and it's not.
Okay. Then what? No. Yeah, no, it's fine. To be honest, the more and more I ask that question, the more I realize most people don't know, even like high level competitors. They're like, I don't know, it feels good.
Yeah. As long as I don't know what he's doing. As long as it doesn't affect your shooting, then it's a good trigger weight.
Yes. Yeah. So actually that's so how did you end up at the weight that you have your trigger set at?
I think just by happenstance.
Just what feels good?
I think what happened was Dad was doing all that stuff, and then I just kind of adapted to what Dad did.
Okay. That's fair. Well, I think so I was talking to Bushman one time, because in the grand scheme of PRS, Bushman runs a very heavy trigger. He's at like 20 ounces, I think, like 1.5 pounds. And I was asking him about it one time, and he's not wrong. His thought is the lighter you run the trigger, the more susceptible it is to failure, which is definitely true. And his thought was it makes the most sense to run it as heavy as you can without it influencing a shot from a positional shot. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's very
That
valid.
makes sense.
And that's where he ended up with that. I ended up running super light because for whatever reason, I was getting on target and when I'd start this, squeeze, I would just sit on a target forever. And I was wasting too much time. And so I just started turning it down until it kind of went off when I wanted it to.
Right.
And then I measured it and it just happened to be very, very light. And now I run them like 5 ounces. It's just, I don't know. I guess I'm just very in tune with my fingers. Okay. So then, what action are you running on both?
Run Zermatt Arms. I forgot what
TL3?
TL3 action.
Yeah. Those
And
are,
yeah,
they're cool.
they're not the standard. Usually everybody runs impact, but we got into it. And I've had no issues whatsoever. They're smooth, especially when they're broken in. And
I think the TL3s are the smoothest action, period. And I mean, it has to do, with their, the way they're set up, but they're dummy smooth. Like it's what like one of my main test guns is on, and they're pretty slick. And then what about your rimfire?
the rimfire or voodoo,
Voodoo,
voodoo
okay.
60.
The 360.
I used to do a 90-degree because it was a similar bolt throw to my centerfire gun, but I can run a 360 a lot faster. We did that.
Okay, so and that was, and I'm glad you brought that up. You are one of the fastest shooters I get to be around. In
Rimfire.
okay, you're still a fast centerfire shooter. You're like
Probably too fast.
you're stupid fast on rimfire, and like so for those. Okay, you need to like. Do you have the video of the clean mover from Gravestone?
I'm sure Dad could find it. I do not have it.
Okay, you have it? Okay, so I'll try and get it if I can. I'll put it in right here. And it's but it was a side stage or something,
Yeah,
right?
like you pay to get into it, and you just
Yeah, and it was a mover like 100 yards.
think so.
And it essentially it was whoever got the fastest clean, won the side stage, and you cleaned it in like 11
I think
seconds.
roughly 11 seconds.
Yeah, and to be the thing that cracked me up was listening to your dad tell this story, and he was watching people run it, and I think you were getting ready to shoot it, and I guess like some of the people running the stage like good luck, no one's even gotten close, da 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 da. And then you get up there and I think you dropped like one shot like 2 or 3 times, and
So-
did it in like 9 seconds. And the
Yeah.
fastest time before that was like 16 or 17 or something like that. Yeah, and so listening to Joe explain this, he's like, yeah, he gets up there and he does it in like 9 something seconds, but dropped one. So we did it again. And then he did it 9 again, but dropped one. And he did it again. And so he finally slowed down and cleaned it in like 10 and a half. And I was like, oh my gosh. So do you practice going fast, or are you just naturally fast? Like it just makes sense to go that fast.
I think to me, it's just second nature.
Okay.
I guess I never practiced it. I think it just happened to me because when we had a 1022, and if I shoot bolt action that fast, I shoot a semi-auto a lot faster, and that was very detrimental to my accuracy. So we moved to a bolt gun. But yeah, yeah, I think I just like shooting fast.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's because I just always find it. I thought it was very fun, like watching, like when we go shoot together something, and that was always like my number one thing that I would tell you is like slow down.
Because how fast I shot got in the way of my accuracy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And as I've started to slow down, I've started to shoot better.
Yes.
So I try to reserve going fast for side stages.
Well, and it's just so because like I'm the exact opposite. I have to tell myself to speed up. Like I just naturally kind of have a slower cadence, and then I watch people like you, and I'm just like I don't my brain doesn't move that fast, much less everything else. So I thought it was super interesting. So I know you've got sponsors. I definitely want to give, make sure they get recognition for like, so who all is sponsoring you for between the two?
Well, you for one. I know Clayton at WTO sponsors me. He does all my barrel work, and
Yep.
very, very thankful for him. I'm a supported shooter for MDT. They've helped me a lot. They helped me get some of the stuff that I use for shooting, like the chassis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. DI Precision is another one of my sponsors for 22. They do my barrels and stuff like that. And I was very thankful to get that sponsorship. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I mean they're all freaking awesome companies.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. What is there anything that you wanna add that we didn't cover?
No, I think we got it.
Okay, well, dude, thank you for coming on the show. Huge, like sincerely, a huge congratulations to an awesome season. It's been really cool to kind of sit back and watch you, grow and do so well. And I hate that I've been as busy as I have this year and haven't been able to be as involved as I would like to be. But I couldn't be happier. And you're a phenomenal shooter, but more importantly, you're a good person, and I super appreciate that. And I know people that I get calls pretty regularly about you and other people, and people always have something nice to say about how you handled something or you helped them out or something. And it's like, I super appreciate it. And I know your other sponsors will, super appreciate how you handle yourself. And it's cool. So if you're out at a match, Reagan will be at, I'm sure 18 million matches for 2026, so if you see him or Joe, come up and say hi. And I will give it to you. You've done so good on this episode. Reagan is normally a kind of a quieter person, but he is a really, really nice guy once he kind of opens up a little bit. So come up, say hi. Same with me. I know you're shooting Gravestone here in a few weeks. What are like a couple of your next like big 2 days that are coming up?
Big 2 days. I really want to shoot Punisher, positional Punisher. I really want to shoot Clayton's cartridge, Oki Showdown. Really the big name matches. I've gone to most of them and they're always a lot of fun. But yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. So we end up going to a lot of the same matches because we live close. But yeah, I'll be at Punisher too. Are you shooting Raton?
Probably not.
Not this year. Okay, so I'll
maybe
that's that one. Yeah. So CRC regional. Oh, you're gonna do the burger one and then Clay's. Okay.
I love Clay's match.
Clay's, oh my god, it's one of my it's such a love-hate thing. Like I love the match, I hate the weather. And it is what it is. I mean, it's just kind of the natural thing of it, but he puts on a phenomenal match. To be honest, I still may go, but probably not, mainly just because of schedule, but he's doing something on another range, or I think that would be cool. So you'll have to let me know how that goes, and we'll do a recap or something. But well, dude, thank you so much for coming on and doing everything that you do. Joe, a huge thank you to you for everything that you do. And guys, if you see either one of us at a match, come say hi. And a huge thank you to the show sponsors: Alpha, Lone Peak, Collis, Foundation, Hawkins, WTO, Raven Rifles, and Botnia. Love you guys. I'll see you next week.